Okay, the 5th round is in the books. The Eagles continuing to add to their team, adding a player that I absolutely love, running back Kenneth Gainwell out of Memphis. Welcome to Eagles Draft Central, presented by Dietz and Watson. Amy Campbell, Fran Duffy, Ross Tucker. Guys, we talked about this guy in the pre-draft show as someone we had our eyes on for the Eagles today. Kenneth Gainwell. Yes, he can. The Eagles are saying, yes, he can. A running back from Memphis that has produced a lot of great running backs with NFL potential. What I love about him is his ability to be productive as a receiver as well. This is the direction NFL offenses are going. I think he's an amazing complement to Miles Sanders here with the Eagles. Friend, what do you think about this guy's game?
Yeah, I love his abilities as a pass catcher for sure. And I think when you watch him catch the football, it's not just the screen game and as a check down. He was moved out into the slot. He was moved out wide. He ran routes like a wide receiver. He would run option routes. He would win on slants. He would run fades from the slot and look balls in over the shoulder. He had 51 catches as a redshirt freshman in 2019. Opted out this past season. So you've got this, just a one-year sample size. But keep in mind as well, the arrow is pointing up on Kenneth Gainwell. He was a quarterback in high school in Yazoo City, Mississippi, goes to Memphis, makes that transition to running back, and now just 2 years later, here he is as an NFL draft pick.
Well, so a couple things. First of all, all right, you need to watch the pre-draft show every day. That's a lesson for next year, I guess.
Because we've been hitting.
We talk about almost all of these people before they end up getting drafted. This is the person that Amy brought up in the pre-draft show, and this is also the guy that Fran wanted the Eagles to pick. And nothing makes me happier than the big smile on that guy's face when the Eagles take the guy that he wants them to take. I feel like a broken record a little bit. I don't get it. I don't understand why he was a 5th-round pick.
Yeah.
Several people I really respect had him as the 4th best running back in the draft after Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, and Javonte Williams. I don't know why he's still around now, but to get him in the 5th round, I mean, he was the running back ahead of Antonio Gibson at Memphis in 2019, who just had a great rookie year for Washington last year.
Not only that, I know there were people around, not just in football, but in the media as well, that had him as their number 3 running back. So, for me, just looking at what this kid can do in the passing game, just a really fun player. But then even as a runner, he's got outstanding contact balance. He's got patience as a runner, but outside the numbers as well as between the tackles. Just a really fun player who checks a lot of boxes.
Well, and we broke it all down in the pre-draft show as well. But some of that production, let me give you some numbers here. More than in that year, more than 1,400 rushing yards, 14 touchdowns. But then also super productive as a receiver, 610 receiving yards. The only player in FBS that year with more than 1,000 rushing yards, more than 500 receiving yards. Super versatile. And then Eagles fans should be really excited about this. He is Fletcher Cox's cousin, but not only that, he was an Eagles fan long before Fletcher Cox joined the Eagles. He just talked to the media. He said he loved Darren Sproles. He loved Michael Vick. And he's really excited to be a part of this franchise. So there's a lot of nostalgia here with this guy, Fran. And I think a little bit of nostalgia for you too, right?
Yeah, he will always hold a little bit of a special place in my heart for sure, because the first football game I ever brought my son to was Temple, Memphis last year in 2019. Obviously, he was a little guy. He was only a few months old at this point. But the guy that stood out to me at that game live was Kenneth Gainwell. He ran for like 100 yards. Temple ended up coming up with the win. It was the only loss for Memphis the entire regular season that year. And ironically enough, I actually talked with Temple linebacker Chappelle Russell at the Combine last year, and I said, who's the toughest guy that you faced all season long? Temple had a great schedule. They played some Power 5 teams. They had wins over Georgia Tech that year. They played against Penn State as well. He said it was Kenneth Gainwell. The freshman running back was the toughest guy that he saw. So to me, Kenneth Gainwell, again, standing out live, making catches, everything that he does, really, really impressive.
Maybe it's because he's only 200 pounds.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a knock on him. Obviously, all of these running backs from Memphis have had a lot of success at the college level. So maybe they think part of it's the Memphis scheme. But this guy outproduced Tony Pollard and Antonio Gibson. If you watch the Cowboys or the Washington football team play, those guys are good.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys have juice. I like when the Cowboys take Zeke out, keep Zeke in and take Pollard out because Pollard has more juice. That is the type of juice that Gainwell has. There's a clip already going around on social media where Gainwell, he's chipping in pass protection. He lays out Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
So he's only 200 pounds. We know he can do some slot receiver stuff, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets some snaps at slot receiver, but he's willing to be physical. Check it out on social media. He pops Micah Parsons. I love to know that he has that in him.
Yep.
Yeah, and of course, Eagles fans hoping that is a little bit of foreshadowing what we might be seeing over the next few years here in Philadelphia. He'll get to see Micah Parsons plenty with him being over at the Cowboys. All right, let's bring in Eagles insider Dave Spadaro to get his insight on this pick. Dave, what do you think about this one? I'm such a huge fan of it. I think he's such a huge compliment to this running back room. What's your take?
My take is that he's a smaller back than I expected, to be honest with you. I thought the Eagles might go in a larger back direction, but I understand this. When you're running a pure West Coast offense, you want versatility in your backfield, and Gainwell has that kind of versatility. And let's be honest, when Miles has been banged up the last couple of years, the Eagles haven't gotten the production necessarily that they wanted from the rest of the backfield. So Kenny Gainwell comes in here. He'll compete with Boston Scott. You know, I like the Elijah Holyfields, the Jordan Howards. I want to see what Huntley can do. Intriguing pick here. A little bit more, as Fran said, the ability to displace him in the offense is intriguing. And so we still don't really know what the offensive scheme will be, nor do we know what the defensive scheme will be, but we're getting hints based on what the Eagles are drafting. So when you watch this draft, you kind of say, hey, what are the skill sets of all these different players? How do they fit in? It gives you an indication of what the Eagles want to do on offense and what the Eagles want to do on defense. And I think another thing with Gainwell is taking last year off, it really allows him to be fresh in 2021. And as you see, the running backs, Adrian Killens, an undersized, explosive pass catcher. Jason Huntley, really quick, said to be somebody who can catch football out of the backfield. So there's going to be some competition here. And Gainwell is not walking in with a guaranteed roster spot. He's a 5th-round draft pick, but super productive in 2019. And we'll see how he fits in when training camp rolls around, understanding that the Eagles are all at ground zero, learning the same offense.
You know, Dave, just thinking about Nick Sirianni and where he's been, I think there are some similarities to what Gainwell can do with guys like Nyheim Hines and Marlon Mack and Indy, even Austin Eckler when Sirianni was with the Chargers. Do you think that that's the type of role they see for Gainwell, primarily early on in his career, being a 3rd down back to give Sanders a breather?
I'm not sure you take Miles Sanders off the field. But in the NFL, a game of matchups, if you have a back who's really quick, who can win in space in a passing game, and you've got a great matchup opportunity, you take it. So I think that Gainwell, yeah, I see him more as a 3rd down change of pace kind of running back. But again, Boston Scott has been good here, and we know Jordan Howard is in the best shape of his life, and we know that the Eagles liked Huntley enough last year, new coaching staff, of course, but liked him enough last year to keep him on the roster, and that they kept Killens on the roster after signing him post-draft. So I like the idea of added competition in the backfield, and I do think that the offensive running game goes through Miles Sanders, and then everything else is kind of wide open as I see it.
Then Dave kind of set the table for us here moving forward into the rest of round 6, round 7. Could the Eagles see some movement here with some of these picks? Do you think that they'll make all of the selections still left on the gauntlet the rest of the day?
I mean, Howie's always working the phones, right? Like next year, they say the draft is going to be deeper. That the 2020's draft at this point tails off, players opting out, players with fewer games of experience in their collegiate careers in 2020. I mean, I think that the round 6 and 7, stay tuned because you never know what's going to happen with the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a time in each of the last couple of drafts where Howie has made trades and acquired veterans. Let's see if he does it here.
Well, plenty of opportunity for that. 4 picks on tap in the 6th round. Eagles about to be on the clock again soon if they don't make a move. Dave, we will catch up with you after this round in a little bit. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks, Amy.
All right, everyone. We will see you right back here as soon as the 6th round is over to recap the Eagles selections. We'll see how many of them there are. 4 picks in this round as it stands right now. We will break it all down for you as soon as the round is over.